Hello, this is the All Around Natural Beauty, and thank you for showing up and welcome to the All Around Natural Beauty channel. And thank you for showing up and welcome to the All Around Natural Beauty. All right, so there we go. I had to take a little moment to get set up here. We are going live. So just give me a moment to get my studio set up. And again, welcome to the All Around Natural Beauty show, where we are talking about, right now we're using the subject Darrell Brooks to take apart and dissect this narcissistic personality disorder and also this abuse that is a contribution, a direct effect from the narcissist. So today we're going to be continuing talking about Darrell Brooks, actually just highlighting his situation so we can identify these traits and patterns so we don't have to, learn the hard way. So as y'all can see, today's title says Darrell Brooks reveals he struggles with a meth abuse, struggles with meth abuse, and this was back from 2007. And I'm gonna play, some receipts for all that good stuff. But for those of you who do not know who Darrell Brooks is, Darrell Brooks is an American man, rapper, and criminal with a history of criminal convictions who may now be, well, he is, now this is kind of past tense what I'm reading here. He may now be out on bond. So what was this put out together? Anyway, so we all know that he got hundreds of years of prison time for crashing his vehicle into a crowd of parade goers. And for those of you who don't know, I also have a Turo business, and Turo is a ride sharing platform which allows you to be able to rent out your vehicles. And so I have kind of like my own rental car company. So not throughout the night, but I'm expecting a guest. So you may see me on my phone here looking to see when my guest is arriving at the vehicle, and then I remote open it here with my phone. So another thing too that I do is I'm here to empower middle-aged adults like myself to get off the treadmill working existence and to get the strength to be able to start your own business, to work for yourself. So let me see here. Just make sure that my guest is not. No, this is my thing here. Okay, so we're on the clear there. So that's what's going on with Darrell Reeves. But when we started to dig a little deeper, we recognized that Darrell Reed is nobody special. He is a simple, junkie drug addict, male who they made excuses for, who was coddled and catered to and didn't, have to take any accountability, any responsibility. And we're seeing the results of those types of men, what they grow up to be. And I was really surprised. Like, I didn't know that this history existed. I typed up the name and then saw this whole a documentary that showed him back in 2007, it's saying, and there he was, talking about being a meth head, a meth head. So here's the guy that what I guess the grandma was talking about. We need to be helping him out with his meth problem. So all this to say is that if you have someone in your family or someone a loved one, someone has problems with drugs or alcohol, it's so important to really intervene by going no contact with those people, because whenever you continue to have them in your life, look at what you're contributing to. Things could only, get worse. So the reason why I'm highlighting this is because it just shows that these patterns of addictions and abuse, they are cycles, and they kind of are entangled. They kind of go together. So hence is the reason probably why that the girlfriend kept continuing to go back. If there's some type of addiction involved, it's very difficult for victims to get away, because the first thing you got to do is you got to heal. You can't, have addictions and stuff like that and not expect to get out of an abusive relationship. So the first thing I do is, to heal within that. So I'm assuming that that's probably why Erica, the ex-girlfriend, baby mama, the whole focus of where this anger was directed to, like he wanted to, it was her, this anger. And all this to say is that, we have to be careful because misrepresented anger, could turn out bad. And, you only have to turn out bad once if you get my drift. Trying to be nice and generous here to this here algorithm and being aware of my words. One of the main reasons why I wanted to talk about this was because I see this pattern in so many people, and to the outsiders looking in, you always wonder, like, what is it, that allows a person who's in an abusive relationship to continue to go back, is because once you are locked into these cycles, until you break the cycle, you're going to continue to loop with these narcissists and the psychopath type personalities, because they have no choice but to go through these cycles. They have to go through them. That's just how they work, which could be it could not could be, but it actually is an advantage, because you, on the other hand, get the chance to be flexible and move around. You're not confined to operating under love bombing, devaluation, discard, Hoover. You can move around and do different things, like, choosing not to accept the Hoover. So super duper excited when I saw this, and I actually was able to uncover some more information too that I wasn't aware of, that the six victims that Darrell Brooks killed were all Caucasians, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4 ladies, one older gentleman, and a young boy here. Let me see if I could kind of share my screen so we can take a moment to speak. I don't have their names, and I apologize for not getting those together here, because I said, we want to start speaking, having a moment of speak, and not moments of silence. We want to keep our voices and let our voices be heard, and all of that good stuff. So here's a just a kind of the still shot of the victims here. Here's the child, and then we've got these beautiful women and this older gentleman here. Super sad. And then there was dozens of others who got injured. So this story popped up, and the title of it says, Darrell Brooks reveals struggles with meth abuse in a 2007 documentary. So let's get started and see what Miss Darrell was saying at this time. And this, again, shows patterns, right? So this here is back,
Drove his SUV through barricades and into the Christmas parade in Waukesha, Wisconsin. 6 people were killed, including an 8-year-old boy, and dozens more were injured. It was a really awful thing that traumatized the entire community there in Waukesha. If you watched the trial, you saw that the behavior of Darrell Brooks was anything but normal. He turned the entire trial into...
All right. I'm just going to move up a little bit. Look, hey, his face is all young and stuff. I don't even see the tattoo on his neck there, but this is him young in, let me back up just a little bit, in some jail clothes.
Listen as Brooks talks about his meth use and how it made him feel. This was in the Crystal Darkness documentary.
All right.
I wasn't a human. I was just something loud, disgusting, despicable. I could go on. I can use a lot of words, but that's what I became.
Joining me to discuss this.
Wow. Okay, so this is him back then saying these things about himself. I'm trying to get off of this Stop sharing the screen. If I can find my mouse. Come back, mouse. Here we go. Well, that's not what I wanted to do. This is him, back at this young age, and we can see what happens with these drugs. So he had a history with the drugs, going back and forth to out of jail. And the sad thing is that when we enable, if you are an enabler, this is what you could be, contributing to, right? So if he hadn't had those enablers around him, no one would have, wasted $1,000 to bail him out after he, flipped out, because these type of drugs and stuff like that, this meth and all these crack and those type of ones, have a tendency to invoke violence in people and stuff. And we see that this, that's probably the contributing factor for his violent outbursts of, violent, anger and all the stuff that he, had the history of doing, because of drugs and, having it reinforced by, nobody doing an intervention and actually, put in a distance and actually putting, going no contact with abusers of any sort. If they're abusing drugs, if they're abusing people, if they're abusing, sex, whatever it is that the person is, you don't want to be entangled with an abuser. And the only relationship that you can have with them is a no contact relationship with the abuser, especially if the abuse, was at you, So all this to say that these are the things that we need to truly be looking out for. And as we can see, he had been unchecked, for all this time. So let's go back over here and do this again and see what this is. We're going to fast forward to present time, and here he's in his the jail clothes here.
And it causes extreme spikes in dopamine to the brain, among other things. So extreme euphoria. Sometimes when people use it, they also experience hallucinations, delusions. The hallucinations can be auditory and visual.
No offense, but...
Oops. All right, so... All right, sorry, y'all. This mouse pad is... Get over here. All right, so we can see that with this history of the drug abuse, that this is how these things lead to these kind of things like that too, and which is probably a big contributing factor to why the girlfriend kept taking him back, because if she also was, had some drug problems, and she did admit to the drinking, and, so to me, that indicates that she definitely would have a problem, because if you are in a woman's shelter, you're trying to get away from this abusive stuff, but your addiction or your desire to have that one drink, and when people say you only had one, okay, it's stronger than your safety. Do you see what I'm saying? That's like addict behavior. So those are people that you can't rescue, and that's why it's ultra important that you have to stop enabling people with addictions and stuff like that, because they are not safe. Had she, not resulted to, surrendering to these addictions, she would not have been outside of the woman's shelter, seeking something to drink and engaging and actually willingly getting into his car to, get popped in the mouth again. So what was she getting in that car for? So people like that, you have to make sure this thing get out of here, flying around. Is that a mosquito? Or something. People like that are dangerous too, because she is not trying to get herself rescued, and if they can't see themselves as victims or needing rescue, when you are around them, whatever negative thing is going to happen for them, you're going to be within, you're going to be vulnerable to whatever, lessons that they're going to have to learn too. That's why the most important thing is to stay away from people like that, addicts and abusers and stuff like that. So the abusers that are with these addicts, you just have to, send out a good energy for them and keep it moving, because they can risk your life because their addiction is so strong. They'll do things like invite the monster to, the safe place that you may try to provide for them, which was had put out a thought for me to figure out, like, how could we help the, people that are being abused in a safe way that's not going to endanger you for helping them, because we saw how he ended up pushing the face of the roommate, the other woman who was supposed to be in the women's shelter with Erica, ended up having an altercation again with Darrell too. So here we have, sick people, wounded people teaming up together and still being obedient to their addictions, right? So we have to know that the other woman actually had to be doing addiction too, because they two left out of the women's shelter to go get alcohol, to go get drinks, to go do things, do addictive type of behavior and things that weren't good for them, which opened up the door for just more violence. So want y'all to understand that, it's not even safe to be around people who keep going back to these abusers too. So you have to make sure that the person is in the frame of mind that they actually want the help. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to rescue someone who doesn't, know that they need help. So that's how that goes. And let's see. I think that might have been kind of all I wanted on this here video. I don't see. Let me see. After this here commercial, was ultra excited to, a surprise too to see that this is how this went down. Let's see.
Of meth.
All right, so we're talking some more about the meth here that Darrell Brooks had been in jail for addictions to this here meth, which is some serious stuff. And, people really do some real dark stuff related to this here meth. So let's see what this lady here is saying.
It depends on how long someone's using it, how often they're using it. And usually when someone goes through withdrawal and stops using meth, they have chronic fatigue, they sleep for a really long time, they're very depleted, and then over time they can start experiencing long-term impacts mentally, like increase in paranoia, increase in hallucinations, increase in delusions.
So do we make excuses for these people because they did drugs and they are allowed to get away with it because they pickled their brains into come on, mouse, pickled their brains to with the drugs? Like is that like an excuse? I mean, I don't know. What do y'all think? Should we excuse that because the person had some issues with drugs? I mean, really? I'm drinking this coffee because I have to stay up, y'all, to let this guest in. It's going to be coming in at midnight. So this is some coffee for me to help out. And I'm hoping some of y'all get on here and start asking some questions. So, give me some more stuff to talk about because I like to talk. And so what do y'all think about this here? That we see how when you don't actually, do the interventions and tell these drug addicts that, you're going to write them out of your life, because when you have these enablers, all things just get worse. And because I'm sure, they've been bailing him out and enabling him, and he's got all the little patterns and stuff like that, of the, the drug addict, and everybody make excuses, he had the trauma and it was the drugs. He's not himself because of the drugs. But who's, at what point do we make these people take responsibility? It's always something to blame something on, What about the people that don't do it, or the people that made a choice to get off of the drugs, right? these are choices that folks make, and I don't believe that you should be allowed to use that as an excuse for doing all this stuff. Not at all. So let's go back here and see what else they're doing. I'm appreciative that somebody was digging in the crates and actually found this here. Very interesting. Let's see what it's saying.
Potentially, it's not for every person, but sometimes that is happening.
Can it cause changes to your brain even using it for a short time?
Yep. So research shows that because meth increases dopamine in the brain, when you're not using it, you actually have decrease in dopamine. So over time, you can have decrease in dopamine in the brain and increase in hallucination and hope.
I don't know. I don't want to hear that kind of I know that's what they were going to be talking about. It sounds like they're trying to make an excuse, or so is this like more women making excuses for these men? Give me a break. So nah, we ain't sharing the screen on that one there. That's not what I thought it was going to be about, because sounds like they're trying to make an excuse, blaming it on the drugs and stuff like that, which like I said, I don't believe that is an excuse. I wanted to show the video just to show that there's a pattern and to encourage people to go ahead and do these interventions. I know a lot of times when people have addicts in their family, they make excuses for them, or there's one or two enablers. And I want to say that these enablers, they need help too, because this is a sickness. Some of these people are enabling and knowing full well that the person is not getting any help with the addict person is not getting any help. And they are actually, especially the narcissists, are sitting back kind of, snickering at society with the monster that's out there that they kind of unleashed, right? To have these problems and stuff. Like they know these people are doing this stuff, but the enablers are, getting something out of it. It's like a codependency, and it's a very sticky entanglement to be part of. And we can clearly see here that this is exactly what this was all about. It was about two junkie addicts who probably, I don't know, I want to start doing all that kind of speculation. But just to show y'all how this is nothing special, that these are common traits that, everyday people are going through. And we see how when the enablers allow these, make excuses for these abusers and junkie addicts and all that stuff, that it just causes problems for people and, other people in the long run. So super important to, if you do have family or loved ones that are addict, to be strong enough to actually, cut them out of your life and stuff like that, so they can get help, right? Otherwise, we might be opening the door for some more of these kind of things like that. So, all right, so we're kind of quiet tonight. I just want to make sure that I'm keeping also my commitment to doing these daily lives and things like that. So if y'all have got some other topics or things too that, we can talk about, I'm more than happy to do that, or to analyze any more suspicious people. And I'll keep on the lookout too for some also, because it helps us all, because a lot of times people aren't really sure, what is a narcissist and what does that look like, and also the dangers in it. So what I'm going to do now, since I still got to stay up late, I want to find that one video where we can show how these narcissists are, very charming. Public trial. No. All right. So if you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe. And I do want to say, y'all, too, I was saying earlier about the business that I have started. So my history, my background is 30 years in nursing. I'm 51, I'll be 52 in, the next couple of weeks or so. So I'm excited to be speaking from the Gen X and to empower and to motivate middle-aged people, middle-aged adults like myself to overcome the fear of leaving behind a job to start a business. We all want to be able to start business so we can live our best life. And a lot of the reasons why I believe that people aren't living their best lives or doing what it is that they want to do is because they are entangled with a narcissist who is controlling their life and being a distraction, distracting you from being all you can be. Because as we can see, they're very clever. And a lot of times people that are entangled with them don't actually realize that they are entangled with them until it's kind of late and you're already tangled up. And it's extremely difficult to get untangled with them. And that's why we talk a lot about the yellow flags and the red flags so you don't get entangled with one of them. And again, we said too that it's not just the men, that there are some females too that suffer from this, as we saw the grandmother who showed how the female narcissists act as far as like being the habitual liars and these kind of things like that. So we have to be aware of both genders because it's not just one or the other. However, statistics does show that it's more women who are, being victimized by these men who kind of operate under this type of personality, right? So thank you guys so much for tuning in and all the recent engagement and the recent subscribers. I do really appreciate all of the support that I've been receiving. And one thing that I will do too on this channel, I'm excited because it's really starting to grow, and you guys being interested in these different topics and stuff like that. So I want to say thank you again for tuning in, and drop some comments, leave some comments, and see y'all in another video. Peace and love.